Our question? Call us at 617-770-3030. That's 617-770-3030. Now, here's the Car Doctor, John Paul, on AM 950 WROL, the spirit of Boston.
And good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Car Doctor program on AM 950 WROL, the spirit of Boston. My name's John Paul, the Car Doctor, here to help you with your car problems on this pretty rainy Saturday morning out there, but a good, good day, nevertheless, I suppose, to be out and get some things done. A couple of interesting emails I got over the week. Probably go over those a little bit later, probably generated from the Boston Globe column or whatever, but we'll talk about that, including one that sounds like kind of an interesting tip we'll talk about. But before we do any of that, with us on the phone is Gary Jaffarian from Jaffarian Toyota, and their Toyota dealership has been around for years and years and years and years, but it must have been quite a leap of faith, I would think, 50 years ago to take on a Toyota franchise, and I know it was probably not the most popular choice. Gary, good morning, and welcome to the Car Doctor program.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
So when your family generations ago became a Toyota, opened its Toyota store, was there talk in the neighborhood? Did they say, what's wrong with them?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
That's all right. That's all right. When your family opened the Toyota dealership many years ago, was there talk in the neighborhood that maybe there was something wrong with the Jaffarian family?
There was a lot of that talk in the neighborhood. My dad had taken on Volvo in 1958, prior to Toyota in 1962. So he was somewhat of a pioneer in the auto, import industry. But because of the, Japanese and U.S. and shortly after World War II, and Japanese products at that time were not known to be of the highest quality, people thought he was crazy. And most recently, on Tuesday of this past week, when we had our little 50th anniversary party, there was one of our customers who's been, we've known for generations. They owned a business in Haverhill, and he was in getting service, and he's looking at the setup for the party, and he said, I remember 50 years ago telling your father that he lost his mind taking on Toyota, that I thought that was the end of it. He was lost it. He was going to go broke. And now I'm standing in your showroom and you celebrate 50 years. I can't believe it.
Well, and that's, I've heard this from other people as well. And you kind of look back at the history of Toyota, and some of the original Toyota franchise owners essentially almost started Toyota dealerships and gas stations, right? Yes,
our operation was the gas station up until the early 70s. We had on Route 110 in Haverhill, which is River Street, prior to 495. That was the main thoroughfare from Lowell to the beach, and we had the gas pumps lined up out front with the gas islands, and then the vehicles stored adjacent to that in a little one-car, two-car showroom. So we ran out of a gas station. They sold lawnmowers and automobiles and gas and repairs. But yeah, it was when my dad looked at the land, when Toyota first came in, they drove into the gas station looking for existing import dealers to take on this unknown Japanese product. And there was a Japanese executive and an American exec from representing Toyota driving a Land Cruiser, and my dad, who worked on vehicles all his life and had been in the service in the Seabees, ran a motor pool in Kwajalein, and very familiar with little Jeep-type units and so on. Well, he crawled around this truck, and he said, if you're going to build automobiles as good as this truck right here, it will become number one in my lifetime. And that's how he became a Toyota dealer, with a lot of foresight, and believe in what he knew to be a quality product.
And certainly Toyota's had some stumbling blocks. I mean, when Toyotas were first introduced, I remember talking to some folks that bought them back in the late 60s and early 70s, and the joke was if you had really good hearing, you could hear them starting to rust in the showroom. But certainly that has changed considerably. In fact, Marita, our producer today, we were talking about Toyota, and she said when she was essentially born, her parents always had Toyotas, and they had a Celica that at one point was older than she was, and her parents loved the car because of the dependability and the practicality of it.
Well, all of what you said is true. The rusting in the showroom is very close to the truth. I don't think a lot of the fenders made 12 months, and they were using reprocessed metal, and it was quite a learning curve for Toyota, but they stuck with it, and their commitment to quality and correcting all of those initial production flaws, if you will, because they were design flaws. There was kind of trial and error.
Absolutely.
And that was the big thing that and is still consistent with Toyota today. Akio Toyota, who leads the team, after a short period of time of having a non-Toyota person at the helm, and then we went into some product quality issues, Toyota stepped up and said, we're putting a Toyota family member back in charge. And he basically went right back to the Toyota's operating philosophy. Is, there's only one way to do it, and it's the right way, and there's no shortcuts, and we're not going to increase production and cut quality because that's, it's too competitive, and, everybody wants to dethrone Toyota, if you will, and bump us out of that number one spot globally, which we've worked hard to get over the last 50 years.
Absolutely, and you look at the product today, and I have a acquaintance in New York who works at the PR company for Toyota, and he always said to me, think of Toyota as the belts and suspender company. They are the ones that, whatever they do, they put a secondary system in to keep the cars safe, to keep the cars, to keep the quality up. They're always a company that's, and he was a former editor for Motor Age magazine and a technical guy. And he's like, I've never seen, car companies build products like this. He said, it's phenomenal how they just sort of back up what they do with another system.
They really do. They're so committed. When I grew up, I'm 55 years old, so I grew up, I was I was 6 years old when my family took on Toyota. So I grew up working on these vehicles, both Toyota and Volvo, and working on these as compared to other makes of automobiles. You could see firsthand the difference in the thought process, as your friend said in New York, that there's a backup to every system, the belt and suspender, and that's really the key to Toyota's quality. I mean, it's just amazing that the technology and design, and you look at it and you say, wow, how did they think of this? It's so amazing that this company over such a short period of time could develop such a technologically advanced, fabulous product.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, it is an amazing company. I mean, we know that. There's been many books written about Toyota, and they are a machine.
Yeah, and kind of interesting, the Toyota's not the real name of the family, though. Isn't it like Toyota or something?
Toyota, yeah, there's a D, D-A. Yeah. Actually, one of the Toyota family members did attend Babson back not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember which one or whose son it was, but there was a Dr. Toyota son that was at Babson, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But they, even when you talk about technology, just to kind of go back, because we're celebrating our 50th year, and I remember as a young guy that Toyota would send engineers to visit, and they would come spend time with my dad. My father was a fabulous mechanic and very clever, and they would send a translator, and there were no laptops then. It was just a clipboard and pad of paper.
Yeah.
And they would ask him and interview him on a specific model that had design problems. What do we have to do to make this better? How do we fix this? And the guy would just write, and they as I said, they'd have a translator for the guy. But to go right out and come out into the trenches and interview dealers in this country to say, how do we build a better car for the U.S. market?
Yeah. No, amazing company. And I know that when Toyota commissions a U.S. company to build something, whether it's, bumpers or pickup truck beds or whatever, I know they actually send their staff in there to help them become a better company through better engineering.
Right. They do. They train them on the Toyota, I guess, philosophy is what we call it, which was what happened. Same thing that happened when Georgetown, Kentucky came up. Was it 98 maybe?
Yeah.
the Camry plants, all of the team leaders that were U.S. People from Kentucky that were hired spent months in Japan training and learning the Toyota system and the Toyota quality and Kaizen, and so that when they came back here, they were educated as to what it takes to build the automobile, let's just say the Toyota way. Having put toward that plant, it is amazing the things that the way Toyota does things. I mean, there's certain parts they don't let you see, but the parts that they did allow us to tour was just, they have actually a little emergency team. When there's a problem with a vehicle on the assembly line, they don't let it go. They push a button, it lights up where it is on the assembly line, and there's a chief from each section. They have bicycles with baskets with tools on them, and they ride over, and they have a certain amount of time allocated to be able to fix the car, the little production issue if there is. And if they do, great. If they don't, they derail it and the car comes off.
Yeah, I know that talking to people who, years ago maybe worked at the General Motors plant up in Framingham, you would never stop the production line. Never ever stop if screws went in and stripped going into the hole, the car kept moving. You would never stop the line. But I've heard that before, that they absolutely will stop the line, try to fix whatever the problem is, or pull the car off.
It's exactly. I saw it. It was amazing. And having grown up here, when the General Motors plant in Framingham was functioning in operation, I had the opportunity to go through there a few times, years prior to touring the Toyota plant. And as you said, there is a difference, which again, it's commitment to quality and making sure that it's done right. If it doesn't come out of the plant right, it's not going to get better when it ends up on the deal a lot.
Absolutely.
And it won't fix itself on the rail car or the transport truck.
Absolutely. And I was just flipping through Auto Week magazine, and they have a little story about cars with the highest amount of North American content, cars essentially made in North America. Yep. And the highest content car made in North America is the Toyota Matrix, and the second highest car made in North America is the Toyota Avalon.
Yeah, we've always been a domestic, a very high domestic content company, which is something that a lot of the American consumers don't, buy American, which we know is a sensitive subject.
Right.
Not that way, but we probably have, if you compare to the domestics, meaning Ford, Chevrolet, Chrysler, we probably across the board have a higher domestic content than most of all the American makes, if you will. And that's been consistent for a good number of years. And that's something the consumer, when they want to be patriotic and buy American, those stickers are on every new vehicle, regardless of manufacturer. And it breaks down the content, country of origin, where the components come from and where the vehicle is ultimately manufactured. And that's something that people should look at if they're concerned about being a patriot and buying American. Don't let just the name of the automobile or the manufacturer make you think it was all built here. That's not the case.
Yeah, I know that a few years ago, the little press association I belonged to, I think we called the Ford Fusion the family car of the year, and made in Mexico.
Made in Mexico.
Yeah,
I remember all the Escort, all the Fusion came out of Mexico. And I mean, if you went down the street and polled people on, Mass Ave or Boylston Street, you wouldn't get. I don't think you'd get one to give you that answer.
Yeah. No, it's pretty amazing, and certainly how Toyota has changed since some of the very early models of Toyota, whether it's the early Corollas to today, things like the Avalon, which I remember hearing a story of a less than reputable guy in New York who was taking Toyota Avalons and putting Lexus nameplates on them and selling them as a special Japanese import Lexus. But he could kind of get away with it because the Avalon looked like a luxury car.
Well, it is a true luxury car, and on that note, I mean, Lexus, the 300, has just been a rebadged Avalon, and as is the LX with the Land Cruiser and so on, with some little more fluff to it. But the Avalon is now the 2013 that will be. We should see those cars in December here in New England, and it's a totally restyled Avalon with the style that we're used to in comfort, but now with an added twist on performance, which is kind of the direction the market is, as you know, going. And for the last few years, the Avalon has, more attracted the more buyer, retirees, not keeping the younger segment in our luxury end.
Yeah, I know. I think I got in trouble once because I wrote a review about it, and I think I called it the Toyota Park Avalon.
Yeah. I'm trying to be real. I mean that's fine and it's good, but we don't want to, again, deja vu here. GM, Park Avenue. Obviously Toyota's not going to let us go down that road.
Right.
And it's been addressed. And this new Avalon is absolutely gorgeous. It's I think this picture's online if people want to look at it, but it will be available for sale in only a couple of months here in December. But they just the things as I've always said, and Toyota is the best value in any segment in the automobile line, whether it's a Corolla all the way up through the Avalon or the Land Cruiser, the Tundra. It doesn't matter what size. I mean, the Camry, the Prius. I mean, just look at the hybrid. What in the electric cars. I mean, we're selling plug-ins and other guys aren't. I mean, it's just. When you do your homework, dollar for dollar, pound for pound, Toyota is, bar none, the best value for the modern industry. Yeah. The best. New or pre-owned.
Yep. No, absolutely. Did you ever think, though, back when you first, maybe 30 years ago or more, when you were at the Toyota dealership, that you could almost refer to Toyota as a truck company?
Yeah, I mean, it was, well...
I mean, back then they had one pickup truck, and I think they just called it the pickup truck, didn't they?
Yeah, we had the ones were called the Hilux, Hilux.
Yep.
And again, they were in that rust out in the showroom floor. And then we just had a pickup. You're right, and it was kind of a if come lately type thing. And Toyota, I think we all know, and again, not to get off too far and get in trouble here, but there's a lot of other things. Toyota could build a 3/4 or 1-ton truck. Toyota has diesels in other countries in trucks.
Yep. And
there isn't a day that goes by that people ask, why doesn't Toyota have a 3/4 or 1-ton diesel? And just Tuesday, when our Boston general manager for Toyota Motor USA was in presenting us with our 50-year award, a customer came over and said, I love my Toyota, but I have a question. Why can't I buy a 3/4-ton diesel Warthog?
Yeah.
And the answer is not going to come out publicly because we know what it is, and it's just you can't. So Toyota's hands are somewhat tied as to we would really be a dominant truck company today if it was politically possible. Yeah.
No, I think Toyota's done, I think, Toyota building their big pickup truck in Texas was kind of a calculated move because it was like, do we go to the heart of pickup truck country and try to build a really good truck? And then you kind of look back at how Toyota went into it with the little bit smaller T100 truck, almost like they didn't want to come in and kick down the door and say, here we are, hide your Chevys and Fords, and they kind of eased themselves into the market, which I think was pretty smart thinking. And although I've talked to people from Toyota, and I think Toyota is one of those Japanese companies that has, Jaffarian Motors might have a 5-year plan of growth. I think Toyota has like a 5,000-year plan of growth or something. So they kind of look at things in a very long-term calendar.
Look, I think that's been the key to success for Toyota. Going back to what we said, and the family being involved, and it really would be something to sit in on these, long-range planning board meetings, because I can just imagine that's, they're talking about 2020, 25. I believe that to be true also.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not in this business, somebody's going to eat your lunch if you only have a 5-year plan.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
Toyota has been the one to copy. I mean, if you look at over the years, the other automobile manufacturers' television advertising campaigns have been geared toward, we offer this kind of like a Camry, or we offer this like a Corolla.
Yep.
We're almost as good as a Tundra.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it all makes sense, and I think no one can argue, the quality of Toyota products, and I think having the Toyota Motor Sales corporate office, in Mansfield probably doesn't hurt either. You can stay in good, you can stay, well in touch with with the office being so local, I think probably has to help as well.
Well, that John, on that note, many manufacturers, when business, dipped a few years ago, they eliminated their field offices, and they eliminated the reps, which are the people that our contact people between the manufacturer and us. Toyota has continued to beef up staffing, adding corporate trainers. We've always said, can you help us with training and having people come to our dealerships a few times a month to train, because as a retailer, we don't have the resource to hire a full-time product trainer. And so they've added, over the last 10 years, Toyota has added staff to their regional offices to support the dealers out there, which is huge.
Yeah.
Because we're only as good as what we can't give to the consumer what we don't have coming in to us.
Right. Absolutely. You're
really, our dealer council meetings are very productive. Toyota listens with both ears, and they respond to dealers' needs, which are ultimately consumer needs conveyed back to the manufacturer. And again, that keeps, if you're current on addressing consumers' concerns and you do it in a positive way, it just helps to maintain that number one position.
Absolutely.
There's no. I can pick up the phone any minute and talk directly with the general manager of the Boston region of Mansfield. There's just, if there's an issue that needs to go to the top, they're there.
Yeah. No, it makes,
I know.
Makes a lot of sense.
The domestics, you can't do that.
Yeah. Hey, Gary, thanks for taking some time out of your Saturday morning. Give us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Give us some.
One other thing I want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I learned on Tuesday.
Yep.
At our 50th anniversary, in 1962, that year, Toyota sold nationally in the entire United States 711 new Toyotas.
Really?
For 1 year. On Monday of this past week, the day before the award presentation, in New England, the Boston Mansfield office had 710 new Toyotas reported sold that day.
Wow. That's
one quick statistic. And the other one is that we're really proud of is in 1962, there were 90 Toyota dealers in the United States, the entire country,
yep.
90. Jaffarian being one of them.
One of them, yeah.
In 2012, September, there are 4 of the original 90 left.
Wow.
That haven't changed hands.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal.
Toyota. So we're 4 generations here, and my son Gavin's with us, and it's just, we copied the Toyota model. I tell my guys we are to the retail side of the deal with Toyota to the manufacturing side. We have to be better than everyone else.
Well, tell us where you are before you go.
Oh, we're in Haverhill, on River Street in Haverhill, exit 49 off Route 495. Just opened a beautiful new 60,000 square foot facility a few years ago. We've got a great operation, great people. DealerRater.com. We're consistently a 4.5 out of 5 on DealerRater. We also won the DealerRater Volvo Dealer of the Year for Massachusetts, and we're runner-up for the entire country for our whole Volvo Toyota Scion operation for DealerRater. I tell people we're the oasis in the desert when it comes to auto buying experience.
Perfect. Hey, Gary, thanks for taking some time out.
We'll, in another maybe 20 years, we'll have the 25. We'll do the 75th anniversary show.
If we're both still alive, why not?
Well, that's right.
All right. All right. Thanks, Gary.